Good morning, everyone. This is Gary Kay, and you're watching a special edition of my Rants and Raves podcast. I have a special guest, obviously, Fraser Cousins, who's the manager of enterprise strategy at Smart Technologies. Hey, Fraser, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm here live at headquarters in our briefing studio. So it's actually a outfitted YouTube, live Facebook, live LinkedIn station right here in Calgary.
That's awesome. I need one of those. We've got this studio here, but it's not always online all the time.
Well, you must have broken the record on live views this year on LinkedIn, right? For ISE, right? Like that must have been.
Possibly. So I could do it portable easy, but to do it all the time in a room, it's tough because we're a small company. So this room is our podcast room and also video cast, and it's so sometimes double booked. A lot of us went to ISE. Unfortunately, Smart didn't get a chance to go because of what was going on with around the world with the coronavirus and with your own factory. But Smart, did something pretty awesome just a couple of months ago. I think it's the first time in your company's history where you revamped the entire product line at one time, and you have 3 new lines of product.
That's exactly right. So first a comment on COVID-19. So it is true that Smart did not participate at ISE, and for that we apologize for not being there, but we really erred on safety first. And it's a strange world we live in, that we're never more global in our nature, but perhaps the most connected. And we're really trying to accomplish that now through virtual technology, like with what we're doing here with Gary, to get that message out, to give you what really we were going to showcase at ISE, which, to your point, Gary, is a pretty big story. So in Smart's history, 25 years, we've actually never revamped our full lineup all at once. And actually, that's exactly what we did here in December. So right behind me is actually one of our latest. So we have 3 families of smart boards. So we have the Smart Board MX, which is our leading area for really our value line, our huddle room design, and we've really revamped that solution. It's called an MX2, if you will, second generation of MX, which I'll walk you a little bit through. We have the top of the line with the 7000R that we've just introduced. So we have a pretty compelling story about how we've taken the top off of bring your own meetings and also extending really natural use cases for people to be able to extend digital collaboration. We'll show you a little bit of that. And then we also have the 6000S, which is our best answer for power users. So whether that's an engineering use case to a teacher's use case or instructional use case, it's really about a whole new powered solution around what we call tool sense and what we can really do to extend a whole ecosystem of collaboration.
So are all of your boards platform UCC platform agnostic? In other words, can I just make one that's dedicated Zoom and then pop into a Teams meeting, or do you have to pick your platform as you set it up?
Oh my goodness, what a difficult decision most organizations are faced with right now, right? So I believe the statistic that I see trending in what I hear from Wayne House or other areas is that about 70% of spaces today that are being outfitted with modern conferences are really doing bring your own device to be able to accomplish that goal, or perhaps the better term is bring your own meeting, right? You walk into the room, you use your own device to connect to whatever's available in the room, and you conduct your meeting. Perhaps today that might be maybe there's a webcam in the room, maybe there's a speaker microphone, and we're outfitting displays in that space to be able to make it more compelling. Let me show you a little bit kind of those trade-offs. I'm going to go ahead and jump into a whiteboard. And let's talk a little bit about that. So if I think about bring your own meeting, the benefit of bring your own meeting really is it's extremely familiar to the end user, right? There's no extra steps. If you have access to your calendar, your ability to be able to launch your web conference, it lets you really meet on any platform perhaps, right? As long as you have it download to an app or your computer has rights to be able to do a plugin. You can have a 9 a.m. meeting on Zoom, which we're doing right now, or you can later in the day meet on Microsoft Teams. Very powerful way of allowing multiple web conferencing platforms to be utilized. The challenge is it really can be a drain on IT because the top 2 contributors to tech support calls, which, by the way, last trend that really followed this is saying that 1 in every 6 calls that are generated for meeting support by organizations are generated from a room. And the reason why they're generated from the room is 2 major issues. First is Wi-Fi. So people are conducting meetings off of a wireless connection. Perhaps you remember the last hotel Wi-Fi connection you've had and how well the far end might be using it. The second challenge is around using the correct device. So the issue around an optimized device or an area of like having a proper speaker microphone or something that's conducive to the room. And so a lot of organizations look at room appliances to try and address that methodology. So think of Zoom rooms, think of MTRs, think of GoToMeeting rooms have now GoToMeeting platform have one, and of course there's the WebEx room and Jam rooms as well. With all each one of those, the challenge is that they're platform islands. They really do one thing well, and they don't really allow you perhaps to do all the content sharing you really need to accomplish in a session. So with SMART, we have what's called an open conferencing architecture that lets you support multiple styles of meetings. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that. And this is true of the whole lineup within SMART. So the first thing that we built into every one of our SMART boards is we have a built-in USB switch. So what that means is that whatever the active video source is that's on the screen, that is actually what the that computer will be the attention of the SMART board for passing along any meeting peripherals that are plugged into it. So whether that's a speaker microphone, a room-based appliance like an MTR, or just a camera microphone that's suitable for that space. It'll lend itself to that room for itself. So you really kind of get that bring your meeting without unplugging, replugging steps that you have to sometimes do for walking into
So wait, so you would walk in, you have Zoom already loaded on your laptop. How would you then connect your meeting on your laptop to the smartboard?
So with SMART, because it's an interactive experience, traditionally what you do is you plug in via wire for your wire, but we actually support 3 methods. So I'll explain that. So the first way you would do it, so let's try this guy right here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and grab a cable. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. So we have USB-C connection, of course, now, which supports all areas. You're going to notice at the bottom here, a little prompt popped up that's called switch. So what that actually does is like a 3-way call coming into your phone. It lets you choose to be able to bring up your live preview or bring up the source directly for you actually to work on that experience. And so you can see what live is happening on your experience. So here's all my video sources the smartboard can see. And each of them tells you whether they're touch enabled, as well as what type of devices are connected to it. So in this case, I'll go ahead to my laptop 1, which is this guy right here, and I can bring that up directly on the screen. You might have just heard the bop, bada, bop, and all the other USB enumerations. So what that's actually doing is it's granting the services that are plugged into my smartboard to my laptop. So I have a webcam right here, as well as a memory key that's plugged into the smartboard. So both of those in this case are being granted to that said laptop without being extra plugged into that area. So it lets me use that camera and also the smartboard for touch and display for that full session.
All right. So does this work, by the way, does this work on a Mac as well? So if I have a MacBook Pro laptop and I want to come in, do I get that same experience, including 2-way touch?
Absolutely. So you get full multi-touch, and so that's actually something very smart, powerful with SMART. We're cross-platform, so we do that for Linux, Mac, PC, even Android. So you could actually get full capabilities of any USB UVC device using this USB switch. The second thing that we also do in all of our lineup is we have a USB hub. And so that USB hub allows you to have multiple, those multiple devices, whether it's a keyboard, mouse, a speaker microphone, a webcam, allows you to plug all of those in and grant those through that same connection. And we've modernized all the architecture of this solution. So it's a full USB 3.0 architecture. So if you're concerned about bandwidth or, hey, I'm using a Vadio RoboShot that requires me to have USB 3, no problem. We have the correct level of bandwidth that you need to be able to accommodate all these devices.
And what's the OS that's running on the smartboard? Is that something custom? Is that Android? What's running this platform?
Yeah, good question. So like we actually, all of our new smartboard lineup, you can buy it in three flavors. So the first flavor is you can buy it as a monitor. So if you buy it as a zero suffix, so like if you buy the 7000 series, so 70 and then the size, the zero means monitor. So if you want a high secure mode or a JITC mode or a method that really kind of locks down and really just acts as a monitor, you can buy that, which by the way, we pair perfectly with MTR rooms or Zoom rooms. If you want to use it just as a monitor, you can do that, no problem. If you buy it as a 7.2 series, let's think of that as a smart television. So like built with Hulu or Netflix inside, but instead of those apps, we have business applications built into them that we have a whole experience called IQ. Which we've opened up to a full Android ecosystem that lets you do any APKs on your system that you can curate. We coupled that with all of our IoT sensors, as well as a new solution called Smart Remote Management that lets you, as IT, centrally manage all of your assets correctly in that awful area. Third flavor is a full Windows tablet. So we have a built-in area. I'll show you. Go up camera for a second. All of our panels include an OPS module, OPS slot that lets you slide in compute. And so we actually sell a 7.3 series, which is the built-in capability around a full Windows 10 tablet, which that might be conducive for conferencing or organizations that have standardized on Windows and so forth. But it also lets us do other things like this box, which this is the Crestron D80. Sorry, I'm a little bit of lighting. The D80, which is also an OPS solution that lets you use the Crestron NVX environment to be able to bring anything over the network that gives you the audio, video, as well as full multi-touch and USB control for your interactive solution. First time ever in an over-the-wire solution that we can do that.
So I got a question for you that I think a lot of people would ask. There's a lot of talk out there recently of Windows collaboration displays. What's the difference between what you're doing with Windows 10 being able to be built in or slotted in through the OPS slot or the tablet operating system versus a fully functional Windows collaboration display? Do we need Windows collaboration?
Perfect thing. So like Windows collaboration display is actually designed for bring your own meetings only. So it's designed to be able to accommodate devices that come in, plug in some cables, and then get granted a camera, microphone into their solution. Secondly, it offers something called palm reject, which I'll show you in 1 second. And it offers the ability to switch sources when plugged in.
It seems like you have all of that.
We do all of that, but the difference is that we don't put in a camera or microphone because Smart doesn't believe in one size fits all for microphones and cameras. We really learned through the version 1 Skype room systems that you really need a range of ecosystem to address it. And so doing built-in capabilities, we really see a compromise. Secondly, there's many customers that want to standardize in that environment of buying an MTR system. So perhaps maybe from Poly or from HP or Lenovo. And what they want to do is standardize on that set kit. Well, with Smart, we act as the monitor of it, and we don't compete with camera and microphone where you're kind of doubling up with WCDs by pairing it with that solution. So we believe more of an elegant architecture that reduces total tech support and total cost of ownership in this method.
Okay, that's logical to me because I think it's a confusing area because when people hear that, I think they think, oh, well, this is a Microsoft Teams device, but in reality, that's just the operating system. So that Windows tablet interface that you have, for example, it can also support Zoom. It can support all the other platforms that we've talked about all day long. Correct?
Absolutely, including MTRs or Zoom rooms and so forth. We have qualified our equipment for being a touch monitor in every one of those environments. We also have an extra solution, which I'll show you right here, which is called Teamworks, which is if a customer really has a challenge with this platform island business with, I need to be able to support more than one particular platform at a time. I'll show you that. I'm going to go ahead and go to my input screen and change over to my built-in computer, my Windows tablet, and I'm going to end the show. What I'm going to show you is something called Teamworks. So what Teamworks is is optional software that comes with your smartboard now for free. And it gives you a calendar of the day of all your meetings, that one-tap join experience for your web conferencing platform. So in this case, Gary, you invited me to this meeting, which was a Zoom meeting. And so what you see here is a Rave interview, 30 minutes, Fraser, and I see the Zoom icon. So all I do is one-tap join that Zoom meeting. But it doesn't end there. It lets me do more platform experiences. So later in my day, I have a Microsoft Teams call that lets me be able to launch into a Teams call as well. So we support any web conferencing platform.
So if you're doing that, then obviously you'd have to buy a license for the board for a Zoom room and a Teams room, right? They both have to be licensed and they're sort of independently run.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So in the case of Microsoft Team Rooms, we follow the same methodology of provisioning as the Microsoft Team Rooms recommendation, which is creating a room license. Now, here's the good news. Teams have created a special category that's very cost efficient to actually do your rooms in that manner. And that's actually true of the Zoom rooms. There's a special category for room itself that we follow for how you credentialize TeamWorks. The difference is when you're in a Smart TeamWorks meeting, not only do we one-tap join you into your meeting, but we give you the ability to screencast AirPlay, Miracast, and Google Cast up to 8 devices to the far end. And then lastly, we give you a multi-way whiteboard that's richer than just annotation. So you get kind of a richer way of working. So if you think about dividing your rooms into conferencing rooms and collaboration stations, TeamWorks is the answer for when you need multiple web conferencing platforms and a very rich experience whilst in meeting. So that's kind of the goal of what you can use with Smart.
All right. And of course, all this is at smarttech.com. Like I said, 3 new lines, all the lines are reviewed there, sort of a good, better, best kind of a lineup. But the 2 higher end products almost seem like 2 bests. It's like you have a better and 2 bests rather than a good.
You're right. So like the best for business users and government users is what we call a low learning curve product, which is this guy right here. It's a 7000R. So it has 3 major features that are very useful for a business user. So it has USB-C, which is that one plug ability to be able to use for modern computers. So any organizations refreshing 4 years or newer in regards to laptops, they should be buying this to future-proof. Secondly, it has that ability for pressure. So it uses EMR technology, so electronic magnetic resonance, for the ability to do most precision possible in regards to inking. And the third thing it does is what we call true palm reject. Let me show you that. So one of the biggest challenges when it comes to users using a digital interface is that users never been trained on how to use it. So see if I can demonstrate that. I'm going to go ahead and put this to a little bit of an angle.
Yeah, I get it. I can see it
a little bit. So you're going to notice when I write, I can write my name here, but I can actually rest my whole hand down and actually not interfere with what's happening on the screen. It doesn't allow me to erase or interfere with any of the challenges with that screen. So let's see, I'm trying to get out of the way a little bit. I can literally rest my arm on the screen and it doesn't interfere with that experience.
So it knows the difference between when you're wanting to erase versus you're actually writing and interacting. And that's a big problem with these whiteboard products that were specifically designed for interactive whiteboarding.
Without compromising the ability to do things like fist erase or be able to actually use it like you normally do with a smartboard. So
most of those companies, what they do is they have different modes. You put it into erase mode, or you put it into write mode, and that's how they solve the problem. I like your approach.
Press buttons before they're thinking. So our product eliminates all that requirement. So think of like if a Tesla was a digital interactive one, this is our Tesla-like experience, anticipating what you're trying to do.
I have to write that down. That's a good analogy. All right. Well, check it all out at smarttech.com. Fraser, I really appreciate you doing this demo for me.
No, I really appreciate it too. And I hope everyone got a little bit out of this. Go to www.smarttech.com to learn more.
And you'll be at Enterprise Connect. And then will you be at InfoComm?
We're fully at InfoComm. So we're in North Hall in the UC&C Pavilion.
Good. So Enterprise Connect in April, and then end of March, beginning of April, and then InfoComm in June. Fraser, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody.